So about Michigan right now. Well, they got a road win tonight. They beat Iowa 90-80. That was cool. Doug McDaniel and Olivier Comwa both had 0 points in the first half. They're still winning at half. Doug was great in the second half, for what it's worth. My sweet prince. I'm going to love you as long as I can, Nasir. You're my guy. That's not what anyone's clicking on this video for. That's not what anybody cares about. Cart. Sorry, I'm going to refresh my video. We're going to talk to Michigan rumors because in Michigan's win over Iowa, a certain member of the staff wasn't on site today. That would be the strength coach, John Sanderson. I feel like I'm just talking. I'm monologuing. Do you want to say anything before I get all the way into this?
No, I prefer that you continue on the path of getting all the way into this.
All right. This is strong, by the way.
Did you just take a shot of Jack?
I poured it in a glass, but
okay.
Do you want me to take a shot?
No, I do not. I want you to get into it. Oh, my.
It's the last shot I'm going to have before my world comes crashing down, my beautiful Michigan basketball world.
Is it a beautiful world?
No, it's not a beautiful world. We're 5-5. It stinks. Okay, we'll talk about the rumors. Everybody's probably heard the rumors by now, but we'll talk pointedly on the rumors. Keyword rumor. We have reason to believe, we strongly believe these rumors are true, and we also have reason to believe we know what's coming. We're going to get to all of that in a moment. I'll tee it up first with this from an entertainment perspective for us. What a year it's been for us.
I mean,
come on.
If we could go back to our predictions episode for the people who follow sleepers, this would have been a 15-pointer worth it. We had a 1 to 10 scale for predictions and levels of craziness. This would be somewhere between 15 and 20 points.
I don't know. I feel like this was honestly more predictable than Judah Mint's first team All-American. Like, I don't know. You could kind of see this one coming from a mile away. But yeah, so just last thing for me. Yeah, what a year it's been. I mean, am I the problem here? Our football program has a scandal where the coach gets fired 1/3 of the way into the season. My basketball program's about to have. I've made so many parallels between the Mel Tucker Michigan State era and the Juwan Howard Michigan basketball era. And like for it to be wrapped up in a bow like this is just absurd to me. All right, that's enough exposition. Here's what I know. About 2 days ago, I was alerted from a source that I don't speak to often, that I'm going to keep private, that informed me he had heard. So this is like through the phone tree. This is a trusted person who has not ever really hit me up about anything, heard through a source that Juwan Howard and John Sanderson, the strength coach at Michigan, had an incident. At practice, the incident being an altercation. What I was told was that it was a physical altercation. Tonight, as far as I have heard from Michigan sources, Michigan has denied the physical portion. They have not denied that there was an altercation. Obviously, John Sanderson, who has traveled to away games his entire tenure at Michigan, as far as I know, if he wasn't in Iowa City today, pretty clear that there was a reason for that. Like we have tangible evidence Sanderson was not with the team. Why not? Okay, here's your why not. Something happened at practice between them. What I was told was this was the story. A player, I don't even know. I hate, we don't want to be newsbreakers. I don't even want to, like, we're just speaking of what we've heard. We're not newsbreakers. We're not reporting anything here. So for that reason, I'm going to keep players' names private. What I was told was that a player and a member of the training staff were verbally kind of chirping each other. Do with that what you want. I don't know the specifics. Just trainer giving the player shit. Player chirped back at the trainer inappropriately is what I was told. Sanderson inserts himself into the conversation. This is in the middle of a practice, by the way. Middle of a closed door practice. Sanderson inserts himself into the conversation is what I was told. says within ear's distance of Juwan Howard, well, at least somebody on the staff's holding a player accountable. Crazy thing to say. Not necessarily something I disagree with, but a crazy thing to say to your boss in that setting. Juwan Howard, what I was told was Juwan Howard initiated a physical altercation in response to that. So, again, what I was told, when Juwan initiated the physical altercation, Sanderson did not reciprocate. It wasn't like they were throwing haymakers at each other. What I was told was Juwan attempted to get physical. If you haven't seen John Sanderson, go ahead and Google him. He's a mountain of a man. He's made Nick.
Hey, if it was an actual, battle, tail to tape, I mean, you pretty good battle.
I mean, Sanderson, for the record, Sanderson has been here since the early Beeline days. You want to know why Nick Stauskas went from skinny Canadian driveway shooter to NBA player in 18 months? John Sanderson is why. You want to know why Karis LeVert went from weighing 150 pounds to NBA player in 18 months? That's why. This guy has a proven track record of being one of the best strength coaches in college basketball, in college sports in general. Yeah. I don't know anything about John Sanderson, the guy. So I'm not here to side with John Sanderson over Juwan Howard. I don't know anything about it. But take it for what it is. That's the story. Sanderson got snippy. Juwan got physical. If Juwan got physical with Sanderson, you can do the math on what happened. Obviously, Juwan Howard's an NBA player. He's 6'11", as far as I know. Probably has a pretty lengthy wingspan. If he were to maybe throw a punch, we've seen him slap. So we know how long his wingspan is. He was about 11 feet from Greg Gard when he got a swipe. But yeah, I mean, I would think that Juwan Howard probably didn't land a haymaker on Sanderson, and Sanderson wrapped him up quickly, and that's the end of it. Probably pretty distracting to your players, to the players in the Michigan basketball uniform that you're supposed to set a good example for, to our sophomore killer point guard who's 5'3" and looks like a future All-American. Like, for the love of God, can you just be a responsible adult for his sake? Like, good God, man. That's me putting my personal tint on it. I'm sorry. But what I was told after that was the altercation de-escalated, practice continued, and we weren't sure if anything was going to be made of it, quite frankly. Like when I was alerted to this roughly 2 days ago, the reason we didn't do anything with it immediately is, one, we're not newsbreakers, and two, we didn't know what was going to happen. Like I'll be honest, I thought when I heard this that there was a very good chance that it would just be swept under the rug. Do I feel good about that? No, not at all. Like I've said before on record, I don't want Juwan Howard as the head coach of my program when he's done what he's done. But this is something that, it happens behind closed doors, right? Like when two coaching staff members get in an altercation behind closed doors, that's not necessarily a fireable offense. Unless you know the context of it, like that may happen around the country without knowing the details of it.
In my experience, it happens more than you think.
Right. Like it's
assistant coaches and head coaches, not necessarily staff, like strength and conditioning members. Like, honestly, it's probably different just because of Sanderson's actual standing with the program. Like, everyone knows about what he does for the basketball program and the closeness with the program, but not like out of line or surprising for an altercation or argument to happen between a coach and assistant coach. Maybe altercation a little too far, but like assistant coaches and head coaches butting heads, that's something that happens a lot, I feel like.
Yeah, right. Which is why we didn't do anything here. Like, and maybe people want to point fingers at us. Oh, we're being bad. Maybe people want to point fingers at us for lack of journalistic integrity for even making a video about this. I don't know. I just find this whole thing fascinating. That's why we're talking about it right now, because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sitting here right now, Sunday, December 10th. It's 10:50 p.m. Eastern. Michigan got a road win by 10 points against Iowa today that could have potentially saved their season. And here I am speculating if the head coach is not going to be the head coach in 24 hours. I don't know what you do with this. What I have now heard as an update to this, again, more clarification here, but what I was told 48 hours ago was coming from a source, if you want to call it, again, not a newsbreaker, but it was a person that can be considered a source in this situation. Now we're 48 hours later. I'm hearing from a lot more sources, Cart. It's no longer like, hey, this one guy heard this and have you heard anything? Now it's everyone in the sport knows whether or not it's been reported. Like, as far as I can tell, this is news. This is news that everyone knows.
Yeah,
So
everyone knows. For all the Euphoria fans, everyone knows that this
everyone
happened.
knows. Everyone knows. So the latest that I have heard from different, I'll make it clear, different sources. This is now coming from multiple directions. What I have heard most recently within the last 60 minutes of recording this is that the expectation is that Juwan Howard will resign as head coach at Michigan this week.
Ooh.
That's what I've heard. I trust the person who told me that. I've told the person that told me this that I was going to make a video talking about it. They're okay with it. So do with that what you want. Look, we could be wrong. Let me make this extremely clear. We are not reporting any of this as fact. I am just giving you my personal experience through the rumors we have heard this week. But sitting here right now, Sunday, December 10th, as a Michigan basketball fan, I do not feel confident that Juwan Howard will be the head coach of this program later this week.
Can we do a role reversal thing real quick right here?
Sure.
I'd love to pull my body language PhD out right now.
Oh, God.
I know the last couple games it's been different with Juwan on the bench as far as like what his role is, like kind of where he's at. He's like an assistant still to Martelli, who's still the acting head coach. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on. Had the look of a coach who knows he's on the way out on the bench. Had the look of like, this is my last day. This is coming to an end somewhat. He was very reserved, didn't really see much out of him, kind of just sitting on the bench. Obviously, he's not the head coach right now, but I do think some body language PhD things kind of factor into this. It had the look of a coach who got into an altercation earlier in the week and knows that punishments are imminent.
Yeah. So I had a video I put out just, this is separate. At the time that I recorded this video tonight, truly, I said I'm confused by Michigan's coaching staff. When I recorded that video and put it on Twitter tonight, I did not have any sort of expectation that there was actually going to be a moment where Juwan Howard might not be the head coach. That had not been communicated by anyone. Again, I was under the presumption that there's a very good chance this whole thing gets swept under the rug and it's not that big of a deal. That's what I was under the presumption of. There's a moment late in the Iowa game, man. Michigan, they trounced Iowa in the second half. They played great basketball. I wish we were talking about that right now because I'd love to talk about how this team played tonight. And down 18 with 2 minutes left in the game, Iowa keeps all their starters in the game, which shouldn't be a surprise if you've watched Fran McCaffrey teams in the past. Like, they play until the buzzer. If they're down 18, if they're down 28, if they're down 2, like their starters are going to be on the floor and they're going to try to have Peyton Sanford hit 6 threes in a minute. That's what they do. Mm-hmm. So I was pressing with their starters in. Michigan brings all the walk-ons in, Yusuf Kaya, George Washington III, and walk-ons. And Michigan turned it over twice. Peyton Sanford hit 2 threes, or somebody on Iowa hit a 3. Peyton Sanford hit a 3. All of a sudden, it's a 12-point game. Michigan can't get the ball in. There's 50 seconds left in this game. Michigan can't get the ball in because, again, it's their walk-ons. Of course, they can't get the ball in against Big Ten starters. And they take not 1, but 2 timeouts in a row. And during the second timeout, we get a zoom in of the Michigan bench. And what we see is a very clear visual of Sadi Washington, who I love, by the way. Let me be I love Sadi Washington. I love everything he stands for, who he is as a coach. I think he's one of the best assistant coaches in the country. Sadi Washington stands up from his chair, and you can see him mouth the words to Phil Martelli, who is the acting head coach, we're told. Sadi says, get the starters back in. Get the starters back in. If I was an assistant coach on this team, I'd be sitting on the bench saying, get the starters back in. I've done that. Again, I've coached high school. It has nothing to do with this. I've done this. I've looked at my head coach and been like, get the starters back in. And my head coach has been like, screw you, you idiot. Like, that's a thing that coaching staffs do at all levels. So it's not that big of a deal. But Sadi's like, please get the starters back in. Phil literally demonstratively shakes him off, literally hits him with like a hand down, and just shakes his head. And then you see Sadi. You literally see, this is body language PhD talk. You see Sadi lean back in his chair and go, stand up, roll his eyes, crazy, and then join the huddle and clap like a good assistant coach because he knows that's his job.
Mm-hmm.
It was horrible body language. To me, it's a sign of a coaching staff that is clearly under fire. And, oh, by the way, where was Juwan Howard while any of this was happening? Sitting his ass down at the end of the bench where he didn't move the entire game because, man, it's really hard for me to believe. This is, again, me speaking for me now. It's really hard for me to believe that there hasn't been something up with Juwan's situation this entire season. Because yes, he's coming back from heart surgery, which is terrible. And that's why it's so hard to talk about this, because obviously I want Juwan Howard healthy. I want him happy. More than anything, I just want Juwan Howard to live a long, healthy life with his family. Whether or not he's Michigan's head coach, I just want to know he's going to be good physically wise. I like Juwan Howard for that reason. Or like as a person, I'm rooting for him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
The guy has been so disengaged from this program this whole season. And I've come on here multiple times and said, if you're not cleared, if you're not full go, don't be here. When Juwan Howard wasn't here, this team was winning games with Phil Martelli. And then Juwan Howard joined the bench for Battle for Atlantis, and he was the assistant coach to Phil Martelli being the head coach, and it was confusing. There was bad body language. The players didn't know who to look at. Juwan was coaching more than Phil was, but Phil was standing the whole time. The other assistant coaches didn't know what their role was. It was too many cooks in the kitchen. You could tell from afar. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. So, like, it's made no sense. And at least in Atlantis, Juwan Howard was like full go, active. Like he was trying to head coach the team, even though he wasn't the listed head coach. For the last week, Cart, he hasn't been trying to coach the team. And I don't know if that's the doctors telling him you need to chill. I don't know if it's he realized he got teed up at Atlantis and said, I need to chill. I don't know what it is. But for the last 2 weeks, Juwan Howard has been on the bench. He hasn't stood up from the bench. He hasn't drawn a play in the huddle. He hasn't been vocal. He hasn't done shit. The head coach of this program has not done shit. And he's not even the head coach. So none of that has made any sense to me. Why is Juwan Howard on the bench if he can't coach? It doesn't make sense. Unless it's been very clear behind closed doors that he's not going to be the head coach here next year. That would make a lot of sense, right? That would make a lot of sense that maybe Juwan wants to deliver a personal promise to guys like Olivier Kamwa and Amari Burnett, who he brought here for a year, right? Maybe he wants to do right by them. So he doesn't want to completely abandon them, and he's going to see the season out. But he also doesn't want to take back head coaching responsibilities because he knows there's no way in hell he's going to be the head coach next year. Like that is my read on this. And I know I'm going off. I'll give it to you in a second. That's been my read on this before this rumored incident. It's definitely my read on this now that there is a rumor. I don't believe Juwan Howard ever planned on being the head coach after the season anyway. And whether or not that led to him getting physical with a beloved strength coach who's been around for a decade plus in a practice, I have no idea. But that's my expectation at this point is he's not going to be here long.
Yeah, no, I don't think he can be here long. And this is the thing, though, and I'm not on here to combat this whatsoever or even pick sides. Classic thing to say before I pick sides in this situation. If I'm the head coach of the basketball program, do I want to get in altercations with my assistant and staff? No. As the head basketball coach of my team, do I want respect? And if you disagree with me, you don't do it or disrespect me or disagree with me in front of our players. I feel like that should be something that should be expected in somewhat of an unspoken, maybe even rule in this situation. Like, I can see why Juwan got heated, that he's getting called out by his strength and conditioning coach mid-practice after there's an argument between another player and another staff member. Like that's just not something that you do. That's like showing up another man or showing up the head coach in front of other people, especially because if that was the comment or the statement, that's hella personal too. Like he's really attacking him like as a man and as a coach. So it's like, can you get in those physical altercations? No. Would that piss me off and maybe get me like in some guy's face? I mean, yeah. And then you put all that into the larger issue of like the toxicity or the volatility of the program, like you're talking about right now, as far as is he going to be the coach? Is he going to be healthy? All that surrounding things. That's a lot going around the program. Like we talk about Illinois and the former teams with like the Real Housewives of Champaign. There's always some shit going on in Ann Arbor now, and it started with Juwan at the helm. Altercations, everything, like just things happening. Like we got to bring it up because it happened. Like the guard thing happened. This altercation happened. Like these things, you just cannot be doing them as a head coach of a program, and it's sad too because I always tell you, G, like even as a Michigan State fan, I like Juwan Howard. Like I like Juwan Howard. I literally word for word said after we left Big Ten Media Day for the first time, I was like, damn, I like Juwan Howard. I would want to play for Juwan Howard. I see why players want to play for him. If this is how it comes to an end, that's sad, man. Like that's a sad ending to a coaching career.
Yeah.
At your alma mater. That's a sad way to go out. You don't want to see guys go out like that, especially guys that played for you too. Like he's what's the Michigan term? He's a Michigan man. Like that's not how you want to send the dude out or how he should go out. But at the same time, like if you're an administration or an AD or whatever, like your hand is forced in this situation, especially given the lack of team success this season.
I will say this: we will have to see. We will have to see what the Michigan angle is PR wise, right? Because we're doing this probably a little too premature, probably a little too early if we're being honest. We're doing it because to be completely honest with you, we are doing this because I don't believe in good faith there's a way to talk about this Michigan-Iowa game without talking about what we know is going on. So this isn't people can accuse us of clickbaiting, people can accuse us of whatever they want here. The truth is we're talking about this as fans who are also knowledgeable people that know there's no way to talk about this program without addressing the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
So,
like there's no way we can get on here and fake this.
I would love to sit here and talk about how Terrace Reed looks better than he ever has. And that might give me optimism towards a turnaround for this team for the rest of the season. But we have to talk about this instead. And I don't know what the Michigan angle is going to be because if I'm Michigan, if I'm the administration, I don't know who gets to be the decision maker on if he's Ward Manuel. I would assume the athletic director, Ward Manuel, gets to make the decision. If I'm Ward Manuel, there's paths you can go down here. You can sweep it under the rug. You can, which if you were going to sweep it under the rug, you would need to have a serious faith that Juwan Howard is your guy long term. The only reason you're sweeping something like this under the rug after his history with the Wisconsin press or handshake line is if you believed he was your head coach for the long term and could win you national championships.
Right. If Bill Self did this, the AD is sweeping this under the rug, maybe even firing the strength and conditioning coach for even speaking up to Self.
There's not even a thought. There's an NDA in place, and here you go. And let's be clear, crazy shit happens in college basketball, folks. This is not Michigan specific. Maybe the hands, the fisticuffs might be Michigan specific. But like that, the shit happens. Weird, crazy, dirty shit happens in college basketball programs. That's not a spoiler. That's just naive if you don't believe that. But like that, again, they could go that route. It would only go that route if you believe Juwan Howard was the long-term guy. Nobody at Michigan believes that. Nobody does. Administration hasn't liked him the entirety of his tenure. He can't even do media appearances. He doesn't play by the rules. He literally cannot understand what Michigan's admissions department does. Like there's no support. Nobody has believed in him for years at this point. So it's tough. It's tough because I like Juwan Howard, the person. I loved him as a player. I loved him through his NBA careers. I was pumped when he got hired. Whether or not I believed he was a great coach or not, like I was truly rooting for the guy because there was a lot of good to like about him. And there was a lot of reason to believe that he would work in this era. Like it made sense that Juwan Howard would be a guy. You know this from Big Ten Media Day 2 years ago. You left Big Ten Media Day with me, and all you said to me was, Juwan Howard is a problem. Like people are going to want to play for that kid. His enthusiasm, his charisma, all of that is real. It's not fake. It's there, but it's never been the full package because he's refused to play by the rules that college basketball coaches have to play by. You have to do the bullshit. You have to get along with administration. You have to make the media like you. You have to know what your school's going to admit from a personnel standpoint. And most importantly, you have to not hit people. Like, good God, it is so easy to just not hit people. And he can't do it. So again, option number 1, Ward sweeping under the rug. He's never going to do that. Option number 2, wait the season out and hope that this rumor doesn't go public, but wait the season out. Or option 3 is fire him.
Yeah, but also something has to happen. There has to be some type of statement because it's out there now. Whatever the next step is, that's maybe remain to be seen. But there needs to be a statement out because, like we said, everybody knows.
Yeah. So if we're speculating that though, again, this is all speculation. All speculation. If we're speculating that, what it truly comes down to is whether or not Juwan Howard's going to own up to this. Because if everybody knows the rumors, I agree with that. Everybody knows the rumors. This is getting reported at latest Monday, December 11th. Like this is going live. And either Juwan Howard's going to have to release a statement denying it, or Juwan Howard's going to have to release a statement admitting it. And I don't know what he's going to do. Because, the Michigan boards, like if you believe the Michigan insiders who have intel and communication lines into the coaching staff, those people are saying they're not denying there was an altercation, but they are denying it was physical, which leaves a very gray area of what is Juwan Howard going to admit to or not. And maybe truly, Cart, like right now as we speak, it's 11:08 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. I bet you, if I had to bet, this is me speaking for myself, if I had to bet, I bet you Juwan Howard's sitting at home and he doesn't know what he's going to do.
Well, we actually got a breaking Jalen Rose tweet, if I could read that right now.
Oh, my God.
At Juwan Howard, did not and is not stepping down as head coach. He is enthusiastically hoping to return December 16th. Juwan is literally recovering from open heart surgery done September on 15th. Hail.
All right, so then this is going to get real messy. Real messy.
Yeah, I feel like I already know what this statement and what this is going to be like.
What do you think it's going to be?
It's going to be like the stress and rigors of being a head coach is putting Juwan at risk, where we had a long talk about it, and we decided to be best for both parties if Juwan resigns and focuses on his health at this time. Which honestly might be the play here, to be honest. Like, you also don't want your coach who just had heart problems fighting people. Definitely don't want your coach fighting people. Definitely don't want him fighting people if he's just had some issues too.
I mean, I guess the thing is, this is so shitty of me. I don't want to even say what I'm about to say.
Should you not say it?
I don't think I should say it, but I have to make the point. I don't think I should say it. I shouldn't. I'm sorry for saying this. Oh, shit. The surgery is a very convenient excuse for his behavior. Because
it's not an excuse, but it's not even using it as an excuse. It's a reality.
But it is a reality. But this incident can be swept under the rug and explained away by people like Jalen Rose by saying, no, he's just stepping away because of his heart. Which may or may not be true, and there's no way to prove, right? Like, I don't want to be the asshole that's sitting here and saying Juwan Howard's lying about his heart surgery. Like, He's not. He's not lying. That's a very serious thing, and I hope he gets fully recovered. But if he wasn't fully recovered, why has he been with the team anyway? That's been my whole thing this whole time. So
Right.
it would make no sense for him to go from I'm back with the team to now I'm away from the team entirely. And I think that might be where this is headed. And if it is, maybe that's, I don't know. We don't need to speculate on what happens, but you're right. It's going to get messy. And then not to compare it back to the Mel Tucker thing, which was a totally different situation for disgusting other reasons. But at least with the Mel Tucker thing, when the report came out, there wasn't a ton of ability to deny it. Like Mel could deny it, and he did, and he tried to. But very quickly into that process, it was like, this guy's wrong.
Right.
I don't know that there's going to be that happening with Juwan. Like, if Juwan goes full blown, this didn't happen bullshit, I don't know how they're going to get him. Like, it's going to get really, really messy.
Like, this didn't happen. I'm not resigning. Like, y'all have to fire me. I'm not resigning.
Like, if that is the angle Juwan Howard takes here, then it's going to hang over this team. The administration is going to have to, at minimum, decide, are they firing him or are they not? If Michigan's not, like, because if Juwan Howard takes that stance, Michigan's administration would be like, we stand behind Juwan. And in that case, like, is there even anything to report? Like if Michigan says they believe Juwan Howard, this isn't even a thing. He's not fired, right?
Right. No, he's not. And but then also, like, if it's not, then it's still a thing, though. At the same time, it's still an issue. Like, where did this come from? Why is this being said? Did it happen? Where's the film? Like, there's still messiness to follow. 100%.
Can I just, now we're going crazy here, but like, okay, can I go crazy here? Am I allowed to get crazy here for a second?
It's your program.
Who's Michigan State's strength coach?
Michigan State strength coach?
Yeah, do you know his name or anything?
Ooh,
Can you make up a name?
I know that Jason Wittens is the actually, I think it's Jason Wittens.
Love Jason Wittens, by the way. Love him. Great guy.
I think it is him.
Great player. He could provide good minutes on the wing right now, but that's a different story. Anyways, let's just say if Tom Izzo hit Jason Wittens in practice, is there an obligation for Tom Izzo to be fired for that?
No, Jason Wittens is probably fired.
That goes back to our original point. So like that, the whole shitty part about this is Juwan Howard did not commit a crime here, unless this is a felony, like unless there's a misdemeanor for assault here, which shit, dog. But maybe Sanderson's like, screw this guy, I'm filing charges.
That's assault, brother.
It might happen. I don't know. Sanderson didn't travel with the team, so that would imply to me, at least from the initial stage, if the school knew about this, they're siding with Juwan over Sanderson. But I would imagine you don't want the head coach beefing with the strength coach that's been here for 15 years that has a path and a history of success that people adore. So to me, yeah, I don't know. There's going to have to be decisions made, and I think it's going to get real. It's going to get real tough and real dicey real quick if Juwan comes out on Monday and says, I deny that this happened. Because I'll go so far as to say this, Cart. If Juwan denies that it happened, I don't think members of his staff will deny that it happened.
You think they will side with not Juwan?
I think there's multiple guys on this coaching staff that have different motives than Juwan Howard's motives. I'll leave it at that. That's my personal conjecture of but call it is. What is Phil Martelli doing as the assistant coach in this program right now?
Not really sure, to be honest.
Wouldn't it make a lot of sense if he's waiting out a head coach he knows is a disaster for a variety of reasons, trying to get the head coaching job?
There was definitely natural human nature. There is one member of that staff who saw this situation unfold and thought about the next step and what that looks like for them. And
man, and it's not just Phil, but Sadi's a good assistant coach who had opportunities to leave this program for better programs. Like,
Yeah.
he had opportunities and he kept returning. And I like to believe in my heart all these people are good people, but I think there's going to be stories that don't map up here from the head coach. Well, actually, I don't even know who the head coach is anymore. Juwan's not the head coach. So from the assistant coach to the acting head coach to the other assistant coach to Howard Isley, who draws up the plays, to the strength coach that didn't travel to Iowa and took a 2-piece to the face. Like, this program's a disaster. But don't forget that my 5'0" point guard had
You have him in an unhealthy household.
He had 11 points and 7 assists in the second half of the game.
And now he's going straight to the tamper list, my boy. Straight to the tamper list. Also, Michigan has a chance to do one of the funniest things ever by making Sadi the acting head coach. Just letting that be known.
It would be Phil.
I know, but what if they did do Sadi?
My heart would be warmed. I love Sadi.
I know. I mean, it'd be great, but then it just causes more drama. Telly's not feeling that. It's the whole thing.
Can we end on this? What's the What's the
Well, I want to end on who's Michigan. I want to end on we're going to be recording tomorrow. Who's going to be the coach of Michigan?
At the end of the night tomorrow?
At the end of the night tomorrow, who's going to be the coach of Michigan?
Juwan Howard.
I don't think Juwan Howard is going to be the coach of Michigan by the end of the day tomorrow.
Who do you think it'll be?
I think Martelli is going to be the intern head coach.
At the end of Friday?
At the end of tomorrow.
You say tomorrow, but ask me the end of Friday.
Who's going to be the coach at the end of Friday?
Phil Martelli.
Beeline? Wait,
Phil
hold on. What if they bring Beeline back just like they brought D'Antonio back? Don't give him a headset. Just throw him on the bench.
See, that's the thing is Martelli already takes the Beeline role. If Martelli didn't exist, I actually think Beeline would like swoop in and do that bullshit. But can I spin zone this hard?
Please.
Do you know what Michigan's record was before Juwan Howard was on the bench this year?
Was it 4-2?
I believe it was 3-0.
3-0?
It was either 3-0 or 3-1. The Long Beach State loss may have happened without Juwan. He was there for the first game of Atlanta. So
I think that did happen without Juwan.
It was either 3-0 or 3-1. I choose to believe it's 3-0 for my narratives. If we want to say the worst case scenario, it's 3-1, which, by the way, Long Beach State just beat USC at USC tonight. So I was told horrible loss by the Wolverines, but they beat USC.
I mean USC is terrible?
Good team.
They're kind of terrible.
Yeah, it's a good team. It's a good team.
Okay.
Regardless, Michigan looked really good without Juwan Howard. They looked really good. I saw it with my own eyes. Saw it. Hi, me, right here. Saw that. They were really good before Juwan Howard got here. You know what they've been since Juwan Howard got here? They've been a disaster, a complete and utter disaster. And that includes tonight, where they just played a team that's even more complete and utter disaster with a coach who's even more checked out than Juwan Howard and Fran McCaffrey, by the way. You called it for months. If Juwan is to actually be gone, I think there's a world where this team ends up really good.
Really? Like how really good?
You know how bad the Big Ten is, the tiny 10.
Yeah. Microscopic 10.
Tonight's win was critical. I'm going to say that because final note for me on this whole thing. We're spending way too much time on this. I'm sorry, but kind of warrants it.
Yeah.
Final note for me is this. If the rumors are true, the players on this team deserve an insane amount of credit. An insane amount of credit. Because this situation is a disaster. This coaching staff has failed these kids. Everyone involved should be embarrassed. Every adult in the room should just be totally embarrassed. I don't have another word for it. I don't. This is a joke, what these adults have done to these kids. Really, for more than a year from what Juwan's done, but in this case, just specific to this incident, It's insane what the people involved in this incident have done to the players on this team. Olivier Kamwa didn't transfer here for this. Namari Burnett did not transfer here for this. Trey Jackson did not transfer here for this. Jalen Llewellyn didn't go through rehab off a torn ACL as a 24-year-old kid with no NBA future just to try and contribute to a program that could do this to him. It's bullshit. It's a joke. It's embarrassing. I hate it as a fan. I despise it. This is the lowest moment. And I've been through low moments, man. I'm a Michigan basketball fan. John Beilein did the Lord's work. I grew up with a program that was the joke of this conference. I'm not immune to it. They've had scandals. They've had bad basketball. They've had everything. This is the lowest moment that I've seen. And that includes my coach a year and a half ago hitting a dude in the handshake line. He's a joke. So for this to be the outcome on a night where these players knew this was going to be the outcome and nobody else did, it hadn't even gone public, but the players know what's coming. And they go on the road to Carver Hawkeye, a place that's been a house of horrors for every program in the Big Ten for 3 years, and they get a road win when Kamwa and Doug had 0 points in the first half. And they come together and they've lost 5 of 6 games, man. They've lost 5 of 6 games coming into this moment. This should have been the season's cooked, fall off the wagon moment. And it didn't happen. I give the players so much credit for that. And I give the coaching staff 0 credit. It's a joke what they've done to these kids.
Yeah. Give some credit to Iowa, too. They stink.
They do stink. Fran McCaffrey deserves a ton.
Dude, Fran McCaffrey's checked out, my boy. He is checked. I know this isn't the recap episode. He is checked out.
And the Sanford brothers.
Yeah. Nepotism's dead.
So to summarize. We didn't break any news. We're not reporting anything. We're speaking for ourselves. Michigan, okay? Is that the summary?
Like basketball wise?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's gonna be a week. Let's just say that. It's gonna be a week. It's gonna be a week. It is going to be a week for Michigan basketball. That is the theme. It's gonna be a week.
Can I end with this?
Yes.
Doug, Nasir, my boy, my love, my one, my only. I need you to listen to me right now. I need your ears on this video right now. My voice is cracking. That's where I'm at. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that these men have failed you. They have. Call it what it is. You don't deserve this. You never did deserve this. You deserve the world, Douglas, may I. You deserve to be the National Player of the Year one day. I still believe you will be, not can be, will be, wherever you choose to be. And know that wherever you choose to be, I will be with you. I will go with you. You tell me where to go and I'm there. I'm on the first flight. I don't like flying. I'm on the first flight, Doug. I'm on the first flight, Nasir. I'm yours. With that said, I'm sorry. Because what you're doing this year is special. It is. And you don't deserve this. And, man, it's going to hurt me when you leave us.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
I, for one, am a little bit selfish play here. Am excited to watch and see what he does in the Big 12 next year.
It's just going to hurt. It's going to hurt so much when he leaves. But he has to, like.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to want better for him.
Yeah, right. I don't. What am I supposed to do? Root my friend into a toxic relationship? Like,
we're not doing that.
No, go
be great.
But you could choose to stay. You could. I'll be here. What if I coached Michigan? What do you think the record of this team is if I'm the head coach this year?
Probably the same.
You don't think we're worse than 5-5 with me coaching?
Probably the same.
You think I'm getting the St. John's win at St. John's?
Is Doug doing what he's doing?
Under me, yeah.
Yeah, then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Shit, man. It's going to be a week. We've got Monday through Friday podcast episodes coming from the Sleepers Media channel. We have game previews and recaps for every game this season. Michigan's next game is a full week from now. That's convenient. That's who organized that one, schedule makers. Never forget that Carter's team is 0-2 in the Big Ten. That's last in the Big Ten.
That's facts.
We'll
And
see
still
next
not
time.
down, still not down bad at some Michigan programs.
Well,
Yeah, I trade spots with y'all.
big spin zone, which isn't even a spin zone. This is just accurate. You know this. Juwan Howard leaving this program would be great for Michigan basketball fans.
For Michigan?
Like, yeah. Like, I mean, okay, this sucks. I wish he was a better person. I wish this didn't happen. But, like, we going to ignore what he's failed to do the last 2 years? Like,
It's true.
again, do I need to hit the Martelli record when he wasn't like?
No.
I'm not exactly convinced the man's a great basketball coach these days.
Understood.
We would
very,
get
very, very much understood.
my dog. You know how much I'm looking forward to a summer where 3 months of the offseason isn't spent on a guy who clearly isn't going to get admitted to Michigan. You know how fun that's going to be in June 2024.
Yeah, it's also going to be fun, like actually cooking up who's going to be the next head coach.
I have a list of names from a reported source that
Really?
already has an article ready.
What?
I'll text you offline.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna need that.
I like the names.
Okay, I'm gonna need that.
Subscribe to Sleepers Media. This is going to be a fun week.